not going to be long, but long enough for you to feel the love of God. Amen. So we look forward to seeing all of our visitors in the VIP reception. We're in week 4 of the last call series, week 4 of an 8-week series. This puts us halfway there, the last call. And as we are in week 4, I just had to look at the wall behind me and see where I was. As we are in week 4, if this is your first time being here, that's okay. We'll build upon some things, but you can come in this installment, and I believe this message will speak to you. I need to tell you, I need to confess something to you. This was a hard message for me to write and for me to prepare to preach. And even in prayer this morning, I was in and out of prayer. We have intercessory prayer at 8 o'clock. I was in and out. I was literally writing slides this morning. And then the elder who was leading prayer this morning, who was leading our service, prayed and said, I rebuke the devil out of your ear. I never hear that too often. I rebuke the devil out of your ear, because the enemy is like, no, it's Christmas. You don't want to share this. And then it was just I was up late. Yeah, went to bed. Well, it don't matter what time I went to bed, but it was real late. And then I said, I'll wake up, I'll finish this. And I've read many books on this and all that kind of things. Usually I can put the power of everything was together, but it was just confusing because the enemy wants to keep us confused of his devices, of his plots. And today we're going to the root of things. Well, that's what we've been doing for the last 3 weeks, but today we're going to the root of some things, which takes us, we're building somewhere, we're going somewhere. And so last call, part 4, and the subtitle to it is We're Overcoming Deadly Deception and Embracing Our Divine Destiny before it's too late. Before it's too late. And so we really want to overcome this deadly deception and embrace our divine destiny before it's too late. And so first, before I do that, let me just review where we have been very briefly. I don't want to stay there too long. We saw in part 1 a few weeks ago that the Bible predicted that the rapture of his people would come, that Jesus would return for his people, and that would be the end of time. That time will end, and it'll be the beginning of eternity. And no one knows the time, but he has promised to them that there are signs of the last call, that we as the people of God will not know the exact time, but we will know that the time is close, that we will be able to see the signs. Over dinner yesterday, briefly over dinner, I didn't engage in the conversation, but somebody said, I already know when the world's going to end. An asteroid is coming in 2027, and it's going to blast up the earth. And I was just like, just hold on, let me not engage on that. I'm going to leave that right now, because I didn't want to be the guy in the room that's always, just beating people up. So anyway, so there is a time. And so we now said we're going to look at biblical prophecy to indicate to us what are the signs of the end. How do we know the end is near? Now, if you want the notes to everything that I'm sharing with you and the notes that I've had before, they're on our website, tabsouthaven.org. Tabsouthaven.org. You can get all of the notes from the previous weeks and see all the scriptures and where we're going. So the second week, we looked at the first and evidence. Number 1 is that the first sign of the last call is the existence of the nation of Israel. The Jews being God's chosen people, the establishment of Israel through the Abrahamic covenant, and the fact that Israel was not some theoretical, esoteric, immaterial promise, but that it was a promise to a specific person, a specific people in a specific land, and that promise is being fulfilled by the fact that Israel is even existing right now. Not to say that every Jew is perfect. We see that throughout the entire Bible. But the existence of the Jewish nation and the most holy city in the biblical record, Jerusalem, we're excited about. And we see the prophecies that in the last days what would happen. And we see that happening in Jerusalem and in Israel. And then last week, we saw the prophecies of the world powers that would pass throughout time. Remember the Babylonians and the Medes and the Persians and the Greeks, yeah, and then the Romans, and then we see the reestablishment that the Bible shows that there'll be a reestablishment of the Roman Empire, and we saw that and see that through the convening of the European Union and the reestablishment of the Roman Empire and a move towards one world government. And we saw that. We'll probably go deeper into that. Now today, we're going to read a passage. We're going to put our focus on one piece of that passage. It is from the Olivet Discourse. From the Olivet Discourse. This is Jesus on the Mount of Olives, his last message, when he talks about the end of time. I refer to this, but we have not actually read this. And this is Jesus himself talking about the end of time. We put our focus more into the words of Jesus in the Olivet Discourse for the next few weeks. We're going to look at some specific things that Jesus said and see how it plays in our time today, in the news, in the world around us. So Jesus says in Matthew 24, starting at verse 3, going down to verse 14. Now, as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? What will the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? What will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And Jesus answered and said to them, "Take heed that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and will deceive many. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you. And you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake." Woo. And then many will be offended, will betray one another, and will hate one another. Then many false prophets will rise up and deceive many. There's deception again. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. Because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold. But he who endures to the end shall be saved. Woo! I don't know about y'all, that's the most exciting scripture in the whole Bible. He who endures to the end shall be, that's Matthew 24, verse 13. And the gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come. Now there's a list that Jesus gives us of the signs of the end of the world. I'm not going through all of that right now because over the next few weeks, I'm going to continue to go over that. I'm going to continue to go on that. We're going to focus now on what I put in bold there in verse 4. Take heed that no one does what? Deceives you, for many will come in my name saying, "I am the Christ," and will deceive. Now, remember, Christ is not Jesus' last name. The Christ is a title. I am the anointed one. I am your savior. I am the one that will take care of you. So people don't have to say, "I'm Jesus." They would just say, "I'm the one that got you. I'll take care of you, and you need me." Now, what does this have to do with Christmas on this day? Okay, it has everything to do with Christmas, because when you look at the Christmas story, it was all about a governmental plot and oppression and colonialism and a lot of other things that happened in there, which I'll show you in a few moments. Now, we see this spirit of deception. There's a strong spirit of deception in the land today. There are cults, many cults. Whether you look at the Jehovah's Witness or the Mormons or the Hebrew Israelites or the Christian Science, you can go down the line. There's poison in the doctrines of many. Many people are poisoning doctrines. People like Benny Hinn have apologized for putting poison in the things that he taught and the things that he did. Creflo Dollar, they tell me, has now apologized for things that they have said that was wrong, that they put poison in the doctrines of many. I can go through those things. There are pseudo-saviors, people who put themselves up as our saviors, people who call themselves God and a manifestation of God. There's, in this time of deception, oppression. whether it's on a micro level, family oppression by parents to children, or whether it's on an institutional level, oppressive systems that are placed upon people. There's control in this time of deception. People are controlling individuals inside and outside of the church. Amen. Some folks, everybody that say they saved, y'all, ain't saved. Don't look at social media and say the church folks acting up. Sometimes you will know them by their fruit. It's sometimes just some crazy fools on social media in the name of church don't mean they are the church. Don't get disillusioned. The church acts the same. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Native. Saints are the same everywhere. Then there are false preachers. Lord, I'm tired of false preachers. Makes it bad for real preachers because now folks define the word by false preachers. There are false preachers, false teachers, and false prophets in this time of deception. Oh, Lord, I talked a bit about false prophets last week. I'm not going to get on that, and we all know that. But all of this put together pales in comparison to the deception that is happening systematically to destroy God's people. I'm so glad you came to church today. I'm so glad you came to church. The devil also said, ain't nobody coming. You might as well just skip this. The devil is a lie. Because, I can just open my Bible and preach from anywhere in this Bible, but I got to preach what God say preach. Yeah. And so all of this pales into comparison with a great deception that underlies everything that I just shared with you plus more. Everything that a vicious antichrist agenda today is the rise of socialism, communism in the USA and around the world. Now somebody say, ain't got nothing to do with it. It got everything to do with you. The rise of socialism, communism, and it's interesting that these old ancient white dudes are revered by everybody. I mean, conscious black folks be like, I hate white people, but I love Marx. Like, what? Yeah, okay. You see that, right? So this here is the Antichrist agenda that has been for over 100 years being planted throughout the world. Now, let me explain it to you, and let me help you to understand. Socialism, communism, it's like 6 and 9. Upside down is the same. It's the same thing. Half a dozen in one hand, 6 in the other. Yeah, the cultural shift, this Marxist socialist cultural shift is necessary for the environment for the Antichrist. They need a socialist Marxist environment for the Antichrist to thrive. If you got pure American democracy, the Antichrist can't do anything. You need totalitarianism for the Antichrist. I want y'all to hear what I'm trying to say. I'm in the Bible right now. You need to wipe away all of those liberties and freedoms. That's why I said last week, I don't understand folks talking about, these people talking about freedom. I'm tired of hearing people talk about freedom. No, I'm never going to stop. So what is the opposite? Bondage? A 2020, and it's being pushed not just recently. And when I reflect back, I thank God. That's why, people of God, I thank God I've been having conversations over the last few days. I am desperate to start our school. I am desperate. Every time somebody tells me they took their child to a school that is down the road wherever, I cringe because I know they're being indoctrinated and they're being snatched away and pulled away ideologically from the God that they're sitting in church right now hearing about. I don't care what school you're in, what suburb your school is in. If it's not a truly Christian school, and every Christian school is not a Christian school. Some of them are businesses. And some of them are Christian people who superimpose demonic pedagogy on top of their schools. Hallelujah, amen. That's why I like, my sister used to be a principal, put Christ large in her school. I was at a Christian school. Yeah, and so it's being indoctrinated. When I reflect over so I thank God, the reason why I was about to say that, I thank God for the time I was in Christian school where my church had a school. But when I got out of that Christian school, when I went to a high school, I went a couple of years into a parochial school, then I went to a university, I was being indoctrinated totally in a Marxist ideology, especially when I I got to graduate school, especially when I went to higher levels. It was, I don't only want to go there because I got too much to share with you. A 2020 poll showed that 40% of Americans had favorable views of socialism. 47% of so-called millennials, I say so-called, because I don't think we can be defined by when we were born just as much. I can't be defined by the color of my skin. You cannot be defined by the type of genitalia you have. You are an individual. Don't nobody tell you just because, you black, we acting black. What does that mean? Act like a man. What does that mean? You act like, no, don't define me. You act like the people, you a Gen Xer, you a millennial, and you know how they are. Now, I don't know how they are, because I know some Gen Zers that got more integrity than old people. I mean, it's Generation Z individuals that's here at the church at 7:30 every Sunday morning setting things up before y'all even get here. Gen Z. Millennials, they start, they quit. Gen Xers start and quit. Everybody else, it's them Gen Z little young kids. Show up here at 7:30 every morning before prayer. And they're here. So don't define nobody but I know some millennials who got honor and integrity. Hallelujah. And I know some scoundrels that's over 80. I'm just trying to say, you can't define somebody by when they were born. Because I used to be that guy. Anybody old was dishonorable. Like, I'm going to still respect you. And it was like, you never lied. Like, the devil is a liar. You was a young liar. You an old liar. Don't be defining people by when they was born. Define them by their character. There's many of y'all losing your minds right now because you trying to act like a whatever, what they told you on TikTok. And this is how we are. You know how we are. Now you shaking your thighs and rubbing, whatever. You go ahead. That ain't you. You're going to lose your mind. So 47% of so-called millennials, 49% of so-called Gen Z viewed socialism favorable. It's just a direct correlation because it's now permeated all the way down to kindergarten that this doctrines of demons are being taught. And so while you saying, yes, Jesus loved me. Oh, I'm sorry, Gershom. Where's Gershom? Oh, you're on the camera. I'm sorry, Gersh. I am so sorry. He wanted to recite the scripture today. All right. In an Axios poll in 2019, 61% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 24 viewed socialism favorably. Bernie Sanders, y'all love Bernie Sanders because he said it's going to give you free stuff. Ooh, Bernie, I feel the burn. And he's a self-avowed socialist. Now, I'm going to tell you what that means. And you know what it means? What it really means is y'all getting lazier and lazier. Y'all pay for my stuff. And whoever gonna pay for my stuff, but let me tell you something, a pimp, that's how pimps pimp out. They start, hey, let me buy you this, let me get you this, and then they flip you, and then you gonna be bringing the money back. I know I'm telling the truth. So y'all sitting here talking about the government? Every time the government has ever in history promised free stuff, they flip back and get their money back plus 10 times more. That's why we ain't applying for government money from the church. Yo, Bishop, you can get funding. You can get some money for COVID. I don't want your COVID money. We will do it God's way, tithe and offering. We don't want it. We don't want it as a church because then some bureaucrat going to come walk up in here and tell me what I can teach, tell us what we can preach, tell us what we can believe, and they're going to say you exist because we made you exist. We don't want it. And when we open our school, don't you ask me to open no charter school. We don't want charter school money. We don't want that. We will be autonomous. I know y'all don't like it. Some of y'all don't like that. We don't want your money. We good. Can I just deviate on that for a minute? When I first got married, we was poor. We closer to poor now, but we were poor. My wife and I went to the office for assistance. And when we went in the office for assistance, the lady was automatically angry that I was there. Who is he? It's my husband. What you going? I rose up, bass got in my voice. Hold on now. We need a little assistance, but you ain't our God. Sharon tapped me. I said, no. We out of here. We can do bad by ourselves. If we got to starve and die, I'm not sitting here licking spit for y'all. Now, ain't nothing wrong with getting help, but don't stay there. I hope y'all hear what I'm trying to tell you. I ain't asked for no help ever since. I was like, I'm good. Y'all good. Go ahead. And you know what God did? God blessed us. Because once you get the dependent, you don't think no more. Oh, man. Let's move. And that's elitism. That's that black elitism. He forgot where he came from. No, I didn't. That's why we got a food pantry right here. Funded by the church. We give out food all the time. Funded by the church. We buy the food. Y'all better leave me alone. The demonic game plan is in effect. Now let me just review the demonic game plan. Revelation 13:3 describes the beast, the Antichrist, as a person with great power and authority. Right? The world will marvel at him, and all people of the world will worship the beast. He has great power and authority. The beast or the Antichrist will be empowered by Satan the dragon, who deceives the whole world. Are y'all with me? The beast is helped also by the false prophet, who does what? Deceives those who dwell on the earth. Revelation 13:14. Are y'all seeing this? You already know it. And then Colossians 2:8, the scripture I have not quoted, Colossians 2:8 states, beware. Apela. For those of you in South Africa, apela. Everybody say apela. That means beware. Apela. There you go. Not that's an X. That's a Q. Apela. That means beware. Beware. Lest anyone, I love y'all, we're a multilingual church here. Beware lest anyone cheats you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principles of the world, and not according to Christ. That scripture right there should have been my first scripture, but I wanted to go through the Olivet Discourse. Beware lest anyone cheats you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the traditions of men. According to, I don't care if you put on pants, I don't trust you, I trust God. He don't wear pants. If you eat, that means you poo. If you eat, you poo. If you poo, you're going to die. You hear what I'm saying? If I ever see you eating, I can never fear you again. Because if you eat, you poo. If you poo, you're going to die. I serve the one who never eats. I serve the one who is from everlasting to everlasting. Beware lest any man, the traditions of men. And you know what's funny about the traditions of men? We can hate those traditions, but we want to rise in them also at the same time. That is called cognitive dissonance. It means really you believe two mutually exclusive things at the same time, or reduce it down to its lowest common denominator. You crazy. According to the basic principles of the world and not according to Christ. So what do socialists believe? Why am I saying this? Socialists believe the world's means of production. This is an official definition. The world's meaning of production, including infrastructure, farms, factories, energy, natural resources, medicines, and more, should be under the control of the people. That sounds good, right? Should be give it to the people. Oh, power to the people. Give the people what they want. They posit that society should own the raw material and the systems that produce wealth, as opposed to a free market system led by companies and individuals. So all these rich people should not own companies. This is what socialists believe. These people should not own companies. They should not own farms, factories, energy, natural resources, medicines, or anything, property, all those things. It should be redistributed by the people to the people. The challenge is, if you hadn't noticed that, because we teach on critical thinking in the church, critical thinking, who are the people? Who gets to be the people? It sure won't be y'all and me. And in every communist society, the people are an elite group of individuals who get richer while the poor get poorer. while you waiting on your pack of hot dogs for the week. A brief look at the beginnings of the socialist Marxist movement is important, and then I can get to why it's so dangerous. Socialist Marxist thought and the deception behind it. Socialism and Marxism, same thing, was started by a man named Karl Marx. Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto. Many of us read it in college, right? You read the Communist Manifesto, but he himself was very unpopular in his time. I just got to tell you this. His family thought he was demon-possessed. And all signs show that he was vexed by demons, by the way. His daughters both committed suicide, and his wife wrote about doing the same thing. He had 2 daughters and a wife. They all wanted to kill themselves. 2 daughters did it. The wife attempted. It is said that he drank too much, and he suffered from warts and boils due to lack of washing his body. He literally stunk. I didn't write this. Everybody wrote it. Everything in the family apartment was broken down, busted up, and other things. In other words, when people are severely demonically possessed, they look depressed, and they do things that lose their minds because they're trying to follow an agenda that was never in line with their destiny. And so this is what's going on with him. Just before his death, out of a letter that he wrote to Frederick Engels, which was his cohort in communism, in a letter dated March the 14th, 1883, he said, "How pointless and empty is life, but how desirable. Life is pointless and empty." He was buried in Highgate Cemetery, which they say was considered the center of Satanism in London. So he was buried with the witches where they felt the witches should be buried. Now, there's a few other things. I'm one of those people, that preacher that I heard on Facebook that literally spent an hour defending. He didn't defend Jesus. He defended Karl Marx and why Marxism is compatible with Christianity. I wonder if he knew this. I wonder if or is he just parroting what somebody told him? Marxism, let me just give you a few points on Marxism and help you understand it. Marxism is anti-God. Karl Marx hated Christianity, which he saw as a source of oppression. He called it the opium of the people. I'm sure you've heard that term before. He believed that for communism to succeed, loyalty to the church had to be replaced with loyalty to the state. So people couldn't be loyal to God anymore. That's competition. They must now be loyal to the state. Now, this is happening even right now. The path was followed by good socialist killers like Joseph Stalin, Fidel Castro, Pol Pot, and many others. They all saw organized religion as the enemy. Notice you get a rise in people saying, "I don't believe in organized religion." They got it straight from Karl Marx. They just didn't know they got it from Karl Marx. "I don't believe in organized religion," which means that they believe in disorganized religion. Which is, wow. And so they believe organized religion was the enemy. They saw religion as the enemy to their communist mind control. So Marxism, anti-God. Marxism is also totalitarian. I use that word sometimes, but I'm going to give you the definition. The term totalitarian is first given by supporters of dictator from Italy, Benito Mussolini. Y'all all heard of Mussolini. And they stated, everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. All right? Now, everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. Now, this is way back. Now, Mussolini is World War II. Thus, the state seeks to displace all traditions and institutions with the goal that should be bringing, I'm sorry, I told you I just wrote this morning, with the goal of bringing all aspects of society under control of that ideology. All institutions, we're hearing that right now, destroy all the institutions. We don't need none of this stuff. In order to make people submit to their ideology, all institutions must be taken down. Marxism is also divisive. Marxism thrives on division. Historically, the division was between classes, the oppressors versus the oppressed. Funny thing is, I hear black people all happy, I'm bougie. Yeah, bougie is a bad thing. Bougie, according to the Marxists, is the bourgeoisie, which are the rich who were getting their heads cut off during the revolutions. And then there was the proletariat, the working class. Right, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. It's interesting that children of oppressors define themselves by what oppressors really were called, that they're bougie, like they have arrived. That's hilarious. I can talk on that, but that's a whole 15 minutes. So that was the bourgeoisie versus the proletariat. Today, though, they have noticed, they found out when they had the revolution in Russia, when there first was the revolution in Russia, they thought the people would rise up and fight against them or fight with them. And they wonder, why are the people not rising up and fighting with us? Why did we not start this revolution? Why did it not spread? And they recognized that there were cultural problems, cultural systems that caused people the hindrance to follow their doctrine, if you will. So today, cultural Marxism exploits and divides people based on race, sex, and gender-related differences. So it's not the bourgeoisie versus the proletariat, it's race. So if you just want to get people to listen and not say anything, you just call somebody a racist and everybody will say, oh, he's a racist, and you don't listen to him no more. So you can say anybody's a racist. And the funny thing is, it's not your opinion on who's a racist is, it's who they tell you who's the racist. Because one person can say one thing and he's not a racist, the next person can say the same thing and he's a racist and we can't listen to him anymore. There's whole television stations you're not supposed to listen to because they're racist. Ooh, you better watch CNN. Don't you watch Fox News? They racist over there. So I went to Fox to see how racist were they. I was just trying to wonder what's the difference between the racism on Fox than it was on CNN, because they all crazy. I was just wondering, like, why can't I watch this again? Why can't I see this again? Oh, okay, yeah. They definitely pimp racism. Yeah, and that's why all the things about race really ain't about you or me anyway. But see, you can say race, and then it touches, because what they do is exploit some type of inherent pain that you have to use to their end. So if you say racism or race, then baby, oh no, I know, ooh, I can't do no racism, oh no. And so then we end up, while we sitting with our Colt 45, with Gucci on, and Gucci's so racist, but we accept that. Watching music videos, which is so racist. My boys were telling me even the other day, the rapper said, I can't even rap, but they put me up. They don't put the better rappers up. Because that's all set up. And so what happened is in Germany, there was a rise of individuals. I think I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm going to tell you this. There was a rise of individuals that taught these things, and they called it, first they called it conflict theory, then they called it critical theory. It is the Frankfurt School. They moved from Germany to Ivy League colleges here, and these were students of a guy named Gramsci, Alexander Gramsci. I learned about all these things. And critical theory is the push of this move. You hear a lot about critical race theory. Critical race theory is not the only thing, and then black people, oh, don't you deal with critical race? You better teach race. We got to teach our history. It has nothing to do with black history. Critical race has nothing to do with black history. Don't nobody care about your history. You ain't even teaching it. So what do they care about you teaching or not? You don't even teach your history. Your child only knows Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. They don't know nobody else. And you wait till February. Nobody told you you had to wait till February. You've been waiting for February. I can't wait till Black History Month. I'm gonna wear something African. Wait, huh? Are you for real? And then you want to... Critical race theory has nothing to do with racism. There's critical theory came from a Marxist perspective to evaluate society and how to, what do they call it? Deconstruct society and set it up the way they wanted to set up. There's critical race theory, there's critical sex studies, there's critical gender studies. It's all based on the same premise that I just told you, that we got to divide and that we got to have loyalty to the state and not to us. Stay with me, y'all, because it gets even better. These theories all boil down to the same soup. So here's the thing about it. I was online. I got some friends who are theologians, who are deep scholars, apologists even. And I got online and I started talking about critical race theory was a big deal. And I'm sitting online and them brothers came for me. Woo, they came for me. They almost tried to take what y'all call a black card. But you can't take my black card because I wasn't issued one. Y'all worried about losing a card that you were never issued. You can't take who I am. I got a saved card. How can you say that? Don't talk about, that's dangerous. I give them facts. They didn't want to hear the facts because the facts get in the way of an agenda that we have accepted. want y'all to hear what I'm saying. Ooh, the Antichrist is wise. He's good. He's laying this thing down hard on you. He's waxing you good on that. Just imagine if I really want to start a movement, I can get somebody to kill somebody, to start a revolution, even though he didn't plan to do it. I hope y'all hear what I'm trying to say. Why is it that there were so many public lynchings on social media that were blast for you to sit and watch over the last few years? Why is it that you kept being traumatized by watching people be killed? There's an agenda behind that. So then you can then say, we need somebody to help us because it's badder than it ever been. And it started not with Trump. It started when Obama was in office. Now, then they said, is Trump in office, black people being killed. It started, Obama was in office, it was happening. You had a black president for 2 terms and y'all was still poor and broke. You got more jobs with the Republicans. So what are you saying here? They playing games with you. So if I can press a button, then you will do anything. You will protest for something that has nothing to do with you. You protesting. Black Lives Matter protest wasn't even led by black folks. It was more white gay people leading the protest than it was black folks. Y'all was at work. You was at work while the white gay people was out there talking about Black Lives Matter. Because they were using you as a Trojan horse to get in the door. And it ain't about black and white. It ain't about gay and straight. It's about a demonic agenda to push something forward so that soon the Antichrist can walk in and say, I got this. I got this. So he has co-opted our churches. So now they're speaking in our churches. Yeah, we're going to have, let me move on. I got enough to talk about. Connect the dots. Because this is my job not to tell you what to think. This is my job to tell you to think. That's all. Just think. Marxism is deadly also. In 1999, a book called The Black Book of Communism sought, because the thief comes not but to do what? Steal, kill, and to destroy. You want to see the pattern? The Black Book of Communism sought to calculate a Marxist-Leninist death toll for the 20th century in 1999. They reflected back over that century. Latin America, communism killed 150,000 people. Eastern Europe, I was just in Eastern Europe. I didn't mention Romania. Did I mention I was in Romania? When I was in Romania, I met people in Romania that are still traumatized from, what is that guy's name? What was the guy's name? I forget. The prime minister was running, the dictator, forgot his name. Eastern Europe, 1 million people killed. Vietnam, 1 million people killed. On a continent of Africa, not one country, 1.7 million deaths. That would include Angola, that would include Mozambique, that would include the wars in the DRC between communism and all these other. Cambodia, that's Pol Pot, right? 2 million deaths. North Korea, that's this guy and his daddy and his granddaddy. 2 million deaths. USSR, that's the former Soviet Union, 20 million deaths. In China, which consistently is a communist country today, 65 million people killed. Through the Cultural Revolution, people were killed for things like, you wear glasses, you must die. If you wear glasses, you got shot in the head. Why? Because people with glasses read and they think they're smart. And if you think you're smart and you read, then you're not going to follow what we think. So they kill people that wear glasses. They kill people who carry the Bible. They kill people in churches. This is not just Muslims killing church folks. This is something that happened. So if you, I got this on the next slide. The death count that resulted from Marxism between 1917 and 1979 would equate to a rate of multiple thousands dead per day over the course of the 20th century. Communism killed thousands of people per day over the course of the 20th century. Adolf Hitler ain't have nothing on these folks. Adolf Hitler had nothing on Stalin, Mussolini, Lenin, nah. The socialists don't want people to remember. Their job is to wipe away memory of institutions, wipe away everything. This is why some of y'all would not visit your family, or your family don't like you and y'all done turned on each other, because family has become a very bad thing. And I'll tell you why family is so bad in a minute. The word remember is found in the Old Testament 164 times. Words like Psalm 61:5. For you, O God, have heard my vows. You have given me the heritage of those who fear your name. When you remember that God has given you a heritage, that you are blessed. Because many of us walking around here as blessed as you are, thinking that you curse because somebody told you that you curse. thinking it's bad because I'm a woman and life is bad, and you the boss at your job. You the boss at your job. It's just hard for a woman. It's just bad, and a black woman on top of that. Ain't you the manager? What you talking about? What are you talking about? It's just hard for black women. You begin to get a culturally depression. It's hard for black men. It's hard. And then intersectionality, which comes out of critical theory, then say the more minority boxes you tick, the worse you are. So if you are black, because the privilege, white privilege is at the bottom. There's gender privilege, male. There's able-bodied privilege if you're not crippled. Then there's sexual privilege if you're cisgendered and follow the what you were born to be. There's all kinds of privilege. So if you are a female, there's trans privilege. There's trans privilege. So if you're not trans, if you don't walk around, if I don't walk around and say I'm a woman, then I'm privileged. So if you are a black man who says he's a woman, and your leg is crooked, then you really mark a lot of boxes. You'll get it later. Psalm 77:11. I will remember. Somebody say remember. I'll remember the works of the Lord. Surely I will remember your wonders of old. As a result, it's to obliterate all history of institutions, all history of what's going on, all history. How in the world did the American flag become a racist symbol? Because if you keep the American flag, don't get me wrong. I'm not an apologist for America. America got issues. America got issues, but I'm going to tell you what. If you ain't never been nowhere, you ain't no better than here. You ain't been nowhere. You go ahead then. You go ahead and find. Democracy got to go because it's just a problem. Stuff be happening bad. Whoo, I've been places where if you just sneeze wrong, you don't show up in the morning. So now I hate America. Okay. I hate where I'm at. Well, then it's okay. We can move. Go ahead and move. We ain't moving, though. I mean, you ain't moving just because the Walmart policies are different in America. Y'all taking stuff back today that you never would have took back somewhere else. No receipt, no nothing, self-war at the church. I don't want this. I don't want to exchange it. I want my money. You got a receipt? Nope. Give me customer service. As a result, the communists have pushed many ills that create an environment for the last call. A few of them, which could be a whole message in and by themselves. Cancel culture. If you don't follow the narrative as you were told, you will be canceled. Say what we tell you to say or shut up. This whole message that I'm preaching will cause me to be canceled with a lot of people. They won't have me come wherever. But do you think I care? I think I care. You're not going to invite me to your whatever. He can't come to this. You can't cancel me. No, God put you. Can't nobody cancel what God got the subscription for. I hope y'all hear it. When you live in a time, and you know how many preachers actually secretly come to me that agree with me and tell me, you ought to preach about this, you ought to preach about that, you ought to preach. And I say, you go ahead and preach about it. Oh, no, I can't talk about that. My people will never live. Because the cancel culture. You can't say certain things. Can't say certain things in the church. You can't. I've been preaching so much about hell. I can get canceled in church for talking about hell. I'm just telling you the truth. Because demons have crept in. Running things with shiny shoes. Demons with shiny shoes and tailored suits. I got a couple tailored suits and some shiny shoes, but that don't make me a demon. I'm just saying. They've crept in. Just want to make that clear. They want to come in some shiny shoes. Cancel culture, if you don't follow, just like it was in the days of communism, you can't speak out. You can't speak. How many of you are afraid to say what you believe, really believe? Don't raise your hand. You can say, I stand firm for God when the days come. And you can't even say what you believe out loud at the Christmas dinner. You can't say what you believe at work. You can't even talk to your own children about what you believe without fear of reprisal, because now what happens is that I stop arguing with people because I used to engage logic and reason in a discussion. Now all logic, all reason is gone. You cuss. just say that don't make sense? It makes sense. It makes sense. Now, it really don't make sense if you quit spitting. There is COVID out here, and you got, you spraying. What they call that? What they call that stuff? No, I know that's alive. What they call it? What they call it? You can't even debate. You can't even intellectually debate intellectuals because they know that they have no ground to stand on. So they need to make a diversion. So they can cuss you out. They can call you names. They can say all kinds of crazy things because they have nothing to stand on. You can't tell me I'm worse off than I was 20 years ago. I'm better off than I was 20 years ago. Is there oppression? Everybody oppressed. Can I tell you something? You know what's funny to me? I got to tell y'all this. You know what's funny to me? In a whole debate about the vaccine, somebody said to me, yeah, I wasn't going to take it until I saw white people take it. Then I thought it was okay since white people took it. You heard that. Since white people took it, they don't care nothing about white people, black people. It don't matter who you are. They never have cared about white people or black people or Asians or natives. Do you think you're the only one they out to get? That is a what? Right? If somebody wants to kill folks, Satan is not saying, I'm going to kill the black folks only. He's killing everybody. Do you know that white people are miserable right now? I'm just trying to say, I don't know. We just think all the white people just like in some happy land somewhere where everything is cool, money is always in the bank, and everybody's flowing. I know. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? And so you can't say that, though, because that's sellout. Because there are people now getting paid doing, what do you call, man, what's wrong with my brain today? Doing equity training. Come to the company and tell if they, equitable, and they making thousands of dollars an hour. While you out here repeating what they saying, they making thousands of dollars an hour doing equity training. Coming up in the company, and it spent a whole year, which really would have took a week to find out how many black folks work here, how many Latinos work here, how many gay folks work here, and then, all right, well, here's what we prescribe for you. And they just made millions while you making $15 an hour. And do you think they plan, when that girl, no. When that girl, Patrice Cullors, for Black Lives Matter, bought her houses, she didn't buy one house in the hood. She went way out there from the Black Lives That Matter. And you matter, but I ain't going to live next to you. I'm going to live out here. And I'm going to spend the money I got from your injustice. I know I'm telling you, Google it. Google Patrice Cullors' houses. And leave me alone. Oops. I wasn't going to say that no more. Cancel culture, this is where you get messed up. On one slide, you get mired in, I was moving good. Those of you on the radio, I'm reading the slides, don't worry. I love our folks on the radio. Dismantling the nuclear family. The Frankfurt School, the Gramsciites, said that there are hegemonic institutions that have to be destroyed. I listed some of them. Hegemonic institutions that must be destroyed. Teachers, education must be demolished. Law, churches, I already mentioned. Media, family. These things must be put under the vice of the system. And you see that right now. The news you watch is so censored. And one thing that they're coming for is the nuclear family. The family must be destroyed. Now, we have participated in that very well. But that family must be split up. So you hear words like patriarchy is bad. It's bad to have patriarchy. Let me tell you something. My house was full of folks yesterday. All my children and my grandchildren's, all of them in the house. Wasn't nobody fussing, cussing. Wasn't no crazy stuff going on in my house. Because there's a strong man in that house with a strong woman. I hope y'all hear what I'm trying to say. If you want to get drunk, you ain't going to do it up in her. You want to act crazy, ain't going to be up in her. Because there's a patriarch up in here. And some things don't go. And sometimes when friends of the family come over, they don't like that. I hope y'all hear what I'm trying to say. You can't, whatever. No, hello? It's a real house. This is how we do. We're going to eat. And could you put that potato salad down? We're going to pray, say scriptures, and what we're grateful for today. We don't do that at home. What? I'm sorry for you. Ain't nothing wrong with no daddy. I'll say it again, and maybe the daddies will say, man, if your wife give you permission. Ain't nothing wrong with a daddy. And let me tell you something. Don't you be celebrating your mama on Father's Day because your mama ain't your daddy. Your mama ain't your daddy. I don't care what she did. I just want to thank my mama on Father's Day because she was a mother and a father. She was a mother doing her best, but she was not your daddy. Ain't nothing wrong with a man. Be a man. You ain't toxic because you ain't walking around sashaying. I'm a real man. When I walk, I stomp. When I say yeah, I mean yeah. And I love my wife. I thought I'd hear some men up in here. I'm a real man. When I say yeah, I mean yeah. When I say no, I mean no. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I ain't playing. I protect my house. Hello, somebody. I thought there would be some protectors up in here. I provide for my family. My wife can work, but if she don't, we still gonna live. It's okay if she work. She ain't oppressed, but if she don't, it's on me that we eat. That's why this is a man church. Tell me men don't go to church. Boom! A man church, when men ain't staying home watching the football game, we come to church and worship, then we go watch the game. You can boom that. We got our priorities in order. They want to dismantle the family. That's why they're becoming the parents of our children. That's why your children get the food stamp card now. So that your child got an EBT card. And they can buy Takis and hot Cheetos because it's now their money that daddy gave them named Uncle Sam. Because now you have no authority. That's why they're giving children COVID shots without the permission of their parents at the school. That's why they dismantling children, giving them genital amputations without the giving them the pill, castrating them without the permission of their parents. Because they want to dismantle the family. And you can sit and say that's over there in California, but it's right near here. Redistribution of wealth. These are the things that they're pushing. This is the Antichrist agenda. If I can shut you up, and if I can demolish your family, because the family buffers against the system of the world. When you have no family culture, no family traditions, no family love, no family direction, somebody's going to take that place. Redistribution of wealth. Private property and funds must be redistributed to the masses by a more equitable formula. There are people now who are saying for you to own your house is racism. What that got to do with racism? Nothing. It got something to do with communism. If you own your house and got a title deed, there is a movement. There is a movement right now to remove all title deeds to homes because that's colonial oppressor type stuff. You should not own that land. The state should own that land. That is why do not sell your house to these folks paying you more money than is what it's worth, because they buying everything up but they ain't selling them. They want everybody to rent. Then they lord over you. You sold your house. You made $75,000, but you can't buy another one. Blackstone is a company that's buying up everything. That's a whole nother thing. Just look at Blackstone. Well, then you got to go deep into it. Forget. Well, check it. Redistribution of wealth. We need to take the money from the rich. And it's rich people saying it. You don't think Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, what's that boy name? I'm trying to do Republicans and Democrats. What's the man name? Mitch McConnell. All of them are millionaires. Nancy Pelosi got all that stock in Pfizer and all those other things. All them people are billionaires. And then we got to take money from the rich. AOC walking around with tax the rich with her rich self. And they talking for us. They talking for us. They ain't been poor since they was poor. You figure that one out later. And the final one. Thank God for our police officer that got up earlier. Thank God for our police officer. Boom. What kind of idiocy? I'm about to show you why. Why was there a defund the police movement? Now, I already told you, if I want to control people, all I got to do is put some lynchings, maybe some orchestrated lynchings on television. Because I'm convinced that boy in Minnesota that killed George Floyd had demons. Boy looked at the camera while he was killing him. And a lot of these guys, one guy shot a guy on the ground. They said, why'd you do it? He said, I don't even know why I did that. I don't know why. Because the truth is, if you're not saved, you can't control your actions. Whoever your master is, that's who's going to control you. And then out of all that, we're going to defund the police. Now, the funny thing is, nobody who lives in any city like Memphis, Jackson, Little Rock, South Haven, Cordova, I don't care where you live, ain't nobody saying get the police off our street. None of us said that. None of us said that. None of us said that. We still said, we called 911, what's taking y'all so long? That's what we're doing. None of us said that. Where did that come from? So you got to start wondering, where did this stuff come from? Satan? Because here's the first thing. If we defund, and they did, in Chicago and Philadelphia and New York and Seattle and Minneapolis and Los Angeles and Nashville, they did defund the police. And what has happened? Crime has risen 4 times in many of those cities. Murder rates higher than ever. And now the politicians who took the money from the police are taking money to have private security. So one private security officer could pay for 5 police officers. But now they got, and I will always love you. Like Whitney Houston and the Bodyguard. Y'all got to keep up. Y'all remember that movie? Yeah, okay. She did sing that in that movie, right? That just came. I thought the Holy Ghost gave me that. Here's why they want to defund the police. First of all, to create chaos. We now have chaos. And remember, I taught you this a while ago. I'm almost done. Just give me another hour. I taught you this a while ago. There's a part of your brain called the amygdala. Did I say that right? Amygdala. I just went to the top medical professor over there, medical officer of the church. Thank you, medical officer. Amygdala. The amygdala is the center of where your fear is in your brain. If that is overworked, you do things irrationally. You don't think just fight, flight. You do things irrationally. You can't think things through because it's overworked. I'm overcome with fear. Did I say that right? All right. Now I got to go to my psychologist because that's right. The amygdala is overworked, so I'm fear. And so if I can keep you paralyzed with fear, you'll do whatever I say. Raping, bombing, shootings. Oh my. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And so now I can control you and I can throw out any solution and tell you it's going to make it better. And even if it don't make sense, you don't have the capacity to even analyze it logically because you're just scraping for answers. This is why the Bible tells us 365 times, do not fear. Because once you fear, the enemy got you. He's controlling you. Oh, and we have taken on things. We've invited demons upon us like anxiety. We say anxiety. Anxiety has been around since David was king. Don't be anxious for nothing, blah, blah, blah. But now my anxiety, and don't judge me because of my anxiety. This is my friend. We walk together. I've medicated it so it's suppressed a bit, but I will always have it because this is how I am. I have social anxiety. I can't talk to people because I've isolated myself because I was scared. And then it just keeps going down. I don't even want to wash my behind no more. No, I ain't making that up. It just keeps going down. What happened to Karl Marx? He got so down, he didn't even want to wash his behind. Till he got sores on his body. That's demonic. You need this. And every time I talk to somebody, it's such a stronghold. When I see it, this is demonic activity. We need to look at the supernatural. Well, my therapist said. Well, they said on TV. They told me to tell my doctor that I need this stuff. And I ain't got time to talk about the spirits that ride on it because the same thing you're trying to get away from, they tell you it's going to give you. Tell your doctor you need this, but it may make your hair fall out, may make your nose bleed, may make your toes crunchy, and it may make you commit suicide. It may make you, back up now. I wasn't suicidal, but I can become suicidal. I'm willing to take that risk. So the local control, here's the real thing. Look what just happened in Chicago. Some of y'all from Chicago. Last year, they said Chicago is off the chain. We're going to send troops. We're going to send the National Guard. And we're going to send whatever. The mayor got on TV and said, you racist to even suggest that. Do y'all remember? Do y'all remember? She checks all the intersectionality. She's a black, lesbian, live in the hood. They voted for her. She said, that's racist. Don't you ever think of Donald Trump, or none of y'all think of bringing no troops here. We got this. Now it's worse. And so she's on the news this week saying, we asking for federal troops to come to our city. We need the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. We need the FBI. And the Secret Service is right now investigating all those folks that got fraud on the stimulus money, by the way. So I hope you didn't listen to your cousin and fill out something. They looking for you. Now, I sure hope you didn't fill out something and they got the money and you just got $1,000. Why is she now asking for the FBI and the ATF to come to her city? First of all, they keep showing you on TV that in places like Chicago and San Francisco and LA, groups of hundreds of people walk into stores and just take everything. And nobody's outraged. It is what it is, you know. And what they say, the mayor of San Francisco said, it's the oppressed who are manifesting that things are bad for their life and they're getting their basic needs. So they shut down all the Walgreens because people was clearing them out. So because they poor, they come in hordes and take everything like Rolexes and Jordans, and because, you know, poor people need their basic needs. Ain't nobody taking vegetables. Nobody taking cornmeal. They hungry. That's why they doing it. That's what they said. So what happened is now we got to send troops. If we send troops and it brings peace, we now have federal officers and have taken away local control. Sheriff Bobo may be saved and go to Tabernacle and be like, Lord, that ain't what we gonna do. But if he comes from Washington, he's already part of the system. And so now we can police you. And also, we can then put more cameras and surveillance and shut you up. And then you do what we told because it's for your safety. So be safe, shut up, and go home. Be safe. What does the Bible say? Are y'all with me? Look, you might be new here and you may not think this is preaching, but I know I'm preaching. I'm preaching. Because this is not, we've been tricked and played like fools. What does the Bible say? There's a Dr. Albert Mohler, and I didn't read it directly. I got it from a book by David Jeremiah, but it's a great quote. So I didn't go to the primary source for this quote. That's what I'm trying to say. Just trying to be intellectually honest here. All right. And there's no footnotes in my PowerPoint because this is my notes. All right, just want to say that too. This is not published. This is just for y'all. All right, because, y'all might cancel me one day and say, he didn't have footnotes. I was just giving you my notes. All right, I don't know who up in here or who online. I know you watching. Here I is, 7701. 51. The Bible reveals several important economic principles. Scriptures affirms the dignity of work, Ephesians 4:28, and the fact that those who refuse to work should not eat. Hello, somebody. What if I'm disabled? Well, it didn't say, first of all, it didn't say those who go to a job, those who don't work. How you be in the house? You've been in the house all day playing Fortnite, playing Call of Duty. Now folks come home, they got to cook for you, clean for you, wipe up behind you. You couldn't even clean up the house because you're depressed. You don't work, you shouldn't eat. Say amen, somebody. The Bible clearly affirms that private property. The Bible affirms private property. Exodus 22:7 condemns theft of that said property. Exodus 20:15 and covetousness. Exodus 20:17. The Bible condones saving. Proverbs 13:22. Thrift. Proverbs 21:20. Land ownership. Once again, Acts 4:34-37. And investment. That the Bible, God consistently expects us to make investments. Matthew 25:27, and are all honored in Scripture. And the Bible teaches that the laborer is worthy of his wages, Luke 10:7. And socialism contradicts or subverts every one of these principles. Why you think nobody going to work? Because if we get people not to work. But some people would say, isn't the Bible a socialist book? Look at Acts chapter 2, verse 42-45. Let's read it. Remember, we did a whole series through the book of Acts. Then fear came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were done through the apostles. Verse 44. Now all who believed were together and had all things in common, and sold their possessions and goods and divided them among all as anyone had need. This was the church in the first century. That some people will point to this scripture and say, communism is in the Bible because, see, they gave everything that they had. And so, isn't that true? Don't you see that? But there's a few things about that. Is the Bible socialist? Acts 2 was not about public socialism where the government took their stuff. This was friends sharing with one another, not a government program seizing assets from one and giving to another. And by the way, I've been to countries where they've done this, by the way. Acts 2 is a historical account of generous hearts, not governmental control. It's also a story of humble dependence on God for all the needs of life. This is why we follow Matthew 6:32-33. For after all these things, the Gentiles seek after all this stuff. For your heavenly Father knows that you need all these things. But seek first the kingdom of God and all these things shall be added unto you. And this is why I say to you, the Christmas story gives us insight on how to live under repressive, demonic government. And I want to be clear, because I know some of you are politicians, you work for politicians, you do all kinds of things. I ain't talking about no party. That is like the greatest illusion of all time. Party is the greatest illusion of all time. For real. Been there, done that. I've worked for political parties. I have. Greatest illusion of all time. But we see the Christmas story. It brings us back to Christmas. The Christmas story tells us how to live under government. Jesus came, the innkeeper helped him, right? There was no room, but he found a place for him. The shepherds looked out for the family and came and checked on them. The wise men came and shared riches with the poor young family. The Africans accepted Jesus as an immigrant, as a refugee when he moved to Africa. Matthew 2, verse 13. And all in the face of wicked and repressive colonial government, the Romans. These are lessons in the gospel today that not only can we thrive, but we can survive. They killed babies then, just as they do now. But even during that time, God still, through that Holocaust, raised up a deliverer. And so I say to you, as I prepare to close, a few lessons to learn as the final call or our last call is approaching. I hope you see that what I was trying to share to you, what sign of the last call is move to socialism in America, is creating conditions that the Antichrist can thrive in. But here's some lessons that we learned during this time. Don't follow lies of rulers, even the ones that are convenient to you. Don't follow the lies. Proverbs 29 verse 12 said, if a ruler pays attention to lies, all his servants become wicked. Don't become wicked following the lies of the rulers. Just because somebody is big and fancy, got degrees and went to Harvard or wherever they went, don't fall for their lies. And so that's the first thing. Don't walk in those lies. Don't follow those lies, even when it's convenient, even when it fits your ends. Don't follow the lies. The next thing that I want to share with you, realize that you are not meant to fit into this world system. You were never meant to fit it. Even in the best of days, you should not fit into the world system. The scripture tells us in John 15:19, if you were of this world, the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of this world, but I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Get it in your mind now that it's not the U.S., it's not Angola, it's not China, it's not Bahamas. It's the world system hates you as a Christian. They hate you because they hated your Savior. Oh, man, I think I'm going to have to repeat that like 4 more times because y'all like, for real, the world hates you. And they would do anything to you. I don't care if they bring you coffee and donuts on when you get back to work this week. They hate you. They hate what you stand for. When you walk in the room, the spirit that is inside of you sends an alarm, and the spirit that is in them, they know who the saints are. They got a problem with you. I don't know why she don't like me. She know why she don't like you. She know you walking in light. When you walk in all that light, that's a problem. When you ain't laughing at their jokes, doing their things, you ain't going to fit in. It's not the children in school. They ain't going to like you. Your teacher not going to like you. You still pass. Our college students, a young college student told me just the other day, every paper he had to write had to be on critical gender theory. Every paper. And in half of his papers in college, in half of the papers, they came for the church. And they said, I couldn't hide my hand no more. I was trying to hide my hand. They're coming for the church. And they were saying the church is misogynistic. The church is crazy. Right on. Unpack that in 1,000 words. And so that person started writing what they believed. And they started seeing their papers were great. And they getting C's and other folks getting A's. But is an A worth it? Let me tell you something. I've been taught to get A's. I've been taught to clean my plate. It caused me to get obese. Going to restaurants, cleaning my plate all the time. Like, till my wife said, you know you don't have to finish that. I was like, for real? Mama told me to make a happy plate. 35 years old making happy plates. Walking out, ooh, that hurt. They keep bringing rolls, I'm eating them. Just because, look, the world don't like you. You won't fit in. Now let me tell you something. Oh no, that's in my next point. You got to know the difference between an admirer of Jesus and a follower of Jesus. There are some admirers in this room. You're admirers. It's kind of cool. You know, it's nice, the idea of Jesus. But a follower goes wherever he goes, no matter how it looks. An admirer likes the idea, likes the concept. A follower says, I have decided I'm going to follow Jesus. Now, let me tell you something. Now, more than ever, there is no gray. There was a time where you can slide in and move around and not declare your allegiance. Now, people don't care about your business. What are you? Do you love it? And you got to decide, will I be an admirer or a follower? Am I going to stand strong or am I going to back up when things get hot? Jesus said in Luke 14, verse 26, then we're going to skip to verse 33. It says, if anyone comes to me and does not hate his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, yes, and his own life also, he cannot be my disciple. That word hate is not what you see as hate in English, the original English. That I will let it all go. I don't love my mother, my father, my brother, my sister, myself, my wife more than I love Jesus. Don't tell me, well, I would be saved, but my wife don't want me to be saved. Oh, that happens. Do you know how many people I know that was praying for their husband to get saved once the husband came to church, the wife left? Or vice versa. They're praying for the wife to get saved. Once the wife came, the husband left. Because there are people who define their dysfunction. They need you to be messed up for them to feel good. They need you to be a drunk. How many times you was an alcoholic? Somebody in here who used to be an alcoholic know about it. You stopped drinking, your family got mad. Because when you was drunk, they could take money out your pocket. They could do whatever they wanted to do. You was laid out, passed out on the couch. Now you up saying, where you going? What y'all doing? When you was out running the streets, everybody was happy. Now you want to be priest provider. Your wife hates you now because now she ain't wearing skirts up to here no more because a real woman married to a real man ain't walking around looking sexy. Because a real man going to say, where you think you going dressed like that? He ain't going to say, where you going? He's going, where you think you going dressed like that? You can tell a woman married or not how she dressed. She ain't got to have a skirt on the floor, but you ain't just going to be walking around mammary glands just hanging for everybody to see. Baby's getting thirsty. And then no man going to dress no certain way. My wife looks me up and down before I walk out the door. Like, husband, I don't like them pants. And what's wrong with this? Just take my word for it. Change them. What's wrong with this? Just change them pants. It goes both ways. Well, then now these days she tell me what I have don't match. I got out the house today. I don't know if I'm matching or not. You say I'm not. Man, come on, man. This match. I got the dude on TV be wearing ties that don't match. It's the swag you wear with it. You know, if you walk with swag, be like, oh, yeah, I meant to do this. But say you. I'm good. Oh, Lord. So likewise, whoever of you does not forsake all that he has cannot be my disciple. All they got to do is threaten us. You're going to lose your job. Oh, I was going to follow the Lord, but I was going to lose my job. How am I going to eat? Somebody's going to lose our jobs. Hello. Did you hear what Jesus said? They're going to persecute you. They're going to kill you. Then he said, in Matthew 24, wait, let's go back there to Matthew 24. Let me show it to you. Let's go back. Let's go back to what Jesus said, and I'm be done. Can y'all go with me? Matthew 24. Whew. Thank you, Jesus. Where am I? There we are. Matthew 24. All right. 24 verse 13. And then the end will come. No. Verse 9, yep. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and kill you, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. Don't fall for that hole just because somebody your color that they go on your side. Do not fall for just because somebody your color or from the same city or from the same neighborhood or speak the same language that they on your side. If they're not on God's side, they're not on your side. I hope y'all get it. Oh, he was black. You know how many? What? He was black. So what's your point? And then it says, and then many will be offended, will betray one another. I'm going to get to that later. Then many false prophets, I'm going to get to that also. And because of lawlessness, that's verse 12, will abound, the love of many will grow cold, but he who endures to the end shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in all the world as a witness to all nations. Put that last scripture for the day, and I'm going to pray. Acts 5:29. We ought. It's the last call, my brothers and sisters. 10 years ago, that's not a long time on the radar. 10 years ago, the things that we see now were unthinkable. The things that are happening now. No, see, there used to be a time where people would say, oh, that's deep stuff. You talking that stuff. That's some deep stuff. That's a conspiracy. Everything I just shared you see it. Stuff that's happening now, 10 years ago, you would never imagine. Just 10 years ago. I'm not talking about way back in the 90s. Some of y'all say, back in the 90s. Just 10 years ago. It was 2021, 2011. You wouldn't imagine some of the things that are happening right now. You wouldn't imagine what's happening in your hospital right now. You know I'm telling the truth. We wouldn't imagine what's happening in law enforcement. We wouldn't imagine what's happening in the banks. Whew, that's a whole nother message. I'll get to that. What's happening in the banks right now? Y'all do know, if I cash app you $600, you got to report it to the government now as income. So don't be asking me to loan you no money. The things that are happening now come straight out of the biblical pages. This ain't the Bible is so real now. There was a time when I was a kid, I said, this stuff don't make sense. This is silly. But now the more I see, the more I read it. And all I got to do is read it. And I don't even have to look at the news. Just go on the top stories on the internet and be like, yep. You see it. They've been trying for 100 years. They've been working at it. They haven't given up. Just like you saw them, one world, the whole unification of Europe. Now you see they're pushing to make sure the systems are in place, and there are other things that are falling into place, and they're falling right nicely. But I'm preaching to the resistance right now. Not to a government, but let me tell you something. To the demonic forces, but let me tell you something. When the laws disagree with the word of God, that's when I break the law. When the laws disagree with the word of God, that's when I break the law. People have wrongly exegeted Romans 13. You got to obey those that rule over you. This is why Paul was in prison when he wrote that, for disobeying the government. Jesus got hung for disobeying the government. Every apostle was killed for disobeying the government. What's my point? Right now, the laws are good. I don't speed. I pay my taxes. I do whatever I'm supposed to do. Blah, blah, blah. But when the laws disagree with the word of God, I choose God. I ought to. This is what the revolutionary apostles said. I ought to obey God rather than men. Can y'all stand with me? Can I pray, or should I keep preaching? If y'all don't stand up, keep preaching. You can vote. On this Christmas, the gift that God gave us was life. And that more abundant. That we have freedom, life. Don't wait till it's too late. Don't wait till it's too late. And all of a sudden it's too late. And now, oh my goodness, we got to this. Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. I don't believe nothing I see on TV. I don't believe nothing. I'm just trying to tell you. I don't believe nothing. I watch Marvel movies. That look real. So what you think? I mean, it really did look like Thor was flying. Right? So I don't believe nothing I see on TV. They're playing games. I believe the word of God before I believe what's on TV. The Bible is right. Somebody wrong. I want to pray, y'all. I believe this is a good day to get saved if you're not saved. Because let me tell you something. Some things you won't see. And there are people who know what I share with you 10 times more. They know, they can tell you about all kinds of plots, all kinds of things, all kind of this. But the problem is that they're nihilists. They're nihilists, which means that there's no hope. There's no hope. They end up losing their minds. They end up breaking relationships. They end up messed up because there's no hope. Because once you start seeing what's happening, there's no hope. That's why I ended with the fact that we're followers of Jesus, and Jesus promised us that this would come. Jesus didn't say, get saved and you'll live happily ever after. He never said that. He said, you're going to walk in the supernatural. You will be my warriors. You're going to fight through this fight. And at the end, I'm going to reward you for what you did in this fight. Jesus never promised everything going to be okay, everything going to be cool, everything going to be happy. He never promised that. And so the nihilists, those who know, those who see, and there's a lot of people who see this. And more. I could have went to a whole lot of other stuff. But you'll find it. You already know it. Many of you know more than I know. I know enough to see this. Satan is busy at work. And Satan works through people. I was so happy. Sister got up and said, I'm expecting. Yeah, that was good. I'm expecting. Oh, you're supposed to do it again, man. But she said she was expecting. You know, that's a celebration in a time where they hate life. Nobody wants life to come through us. It's a beautiful thing. Now, she said she's 5 months. That means somebody should be getting pregnant any minute now, so we could just keep our, the babies coming. Any minute now, somebody else about to get pregnant in this church. Hallelujah. I hear discussion going on my right. I hear discussion. I ain't going to look over there, but is it me? Is it I? Is it I? Come on, married couples. Be like Abraham and Sarah. Can't sleep all night. It's beautiful. And we determine, we raise our children. We strengthen our families. Then the church is a gathering of families. And this gathering of families become God's body, which then reaches our community. The government never was supposed to feed the poor. It was the church. The government, it is when the church is active, the police get bored because we have the spiritual authority to reduce the crime. The government was never supposed to educate our children. They're supposed to help us, but the education of our children belongs to us. We're the ones responsible. When God created everything, he didn't create a legislative, judicial, and executive branch. He had a man, a woman, and some babies. He didn't have an election. There was no voter fraud or voter suppression. There was a man, a woman, and some babies. And they told them what to do. What I teach you, you teach them. You raise them. Then all comes to that. The most important thing is down to that wire. And God is calling us to recognize the main thing must be the main thing. That's why I'm glad for these young men who getting married and having babies and they just running around, flailing around. Now, once again, I say this. If you ain't called to be married, that means you celibate, you don't date. But if you over 18, you should be looking for a wife and a husband, not no boyfriend. By the time you 18, you're not looking for no boyfriend. And then, do you know how bad teen relationships destroy lives? Every psychologist says it. This ain't preachers. Psychologists, you just need to go out and go to prom and just have fun, and then you decide to get a husband after you all broke down. Been divorced 10 times. Had 3 STDs. 2 abortions, and your hair fell out. Now you come to church. Pray for me, saints. Don't nobody want to marry me. Remember now the Creator. In the days of your youth. Glad I got married when I was young. I can't tolerate no baby right now. I'm like, boy, what you want? Quit crying. Let me give you some money. I'll give you a 5 if you stop crying tonight. I want to pray. If God is speaking to you, come quickly. Come quickly. You're online. We got the prayer line that's open. Come quickly. God is speaking to you. And this not you should not leave here angry, mad at nobody but the devil. And you should be angry to say, I'm going to be a part of a difference. I'm going to make a difference in this world. Can 1 or 2 people make a difference? We growing as a church. We just a little body of folks. It's just what? A couple hundred of us up in here. But can we make a difference? Yes! 12 guys